First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX and WIBX950.com.
Kristen Rickman is a spokesperson for the People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA. Someone apparently reported us after John called in and caused all this trouble, said he was going to shoot a skunk.
How dare he?
What do you mean reported us? It's not like we did anything wrong.
I think we were reported. Kristen Rickman, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me here.
All right. First of all, who's the rat? That's what I want to know.
Oh, well, you know what they say, speak the devil's name and he shall appear. You mentioned PETA when you were talking, so here we are.
That's very interesting. Did I mention PETA when I was talking? I did.
Yes.
That's like when you mention a product and then it ends up on your phone or social media feed.
Yeah, you're the one that's listening to my conversations at home?
Nope, that's Uncle Sam. That's not me.
Okay, all right. All right. So, listen, John is saying he was just going to sting the skunk with a paintball gun, which people play with those paintball guns back and forth and shoot each other. It's not intended to kill anyone. He was just trying to scare it away. What do you think?
Well, I think that regardless of whether it worked to scare the skunk away, if he's still got those bird feeders out, he's just going to end up with another skunk or maybe a possum or a raccoon or whatever other species of animal because he's got a free buffet out there.
I'm seeing that John. Andrew, is that John from Bridgewater that's called in?
Yes.
Okay, I'll get to him in a second. He wants to respond and defend himself, Kristen.
Sure.
So if you're all right, and maybe instead of you talking to him, he's very overwhelming for me. I don't know that I can handle him, but I'm sure you'll do just fine.
Great.
All right. So, so these are pests. Like, I got to tell you something. I am so angry. We put all this time into planting tulips. My wife wanted tulips in the front yard, and there is some sort of a creature, and I'm sure it's not my neighbor, that is eating the tulips right down to the ground before they even get a chance to blossom. What do I do?
Well, it would be helpful if you could figure out what the species is, but most wildlife species can be deterred via a number of means. You can use ammonia-soaked rags, bars of soap, human urine in the area, human hair, and devices that move like pinwheels or streamers, effigies of predators, and just make sure to rotate those items regularly. You can use motion-activated sprinklers or even strobe lights or a radio tuned to a talk station. Those things will all work to deter animals from the area.
Interesting.
Yes.
I'm
Just
sure my
put a
neighbors,
loop of your voice.
My neighbors will love it. As I'm urinating in the front yard.
Yeah. Well, look, I've got a better solution than you having to do that. I guess
I was in Lowe's the other day. I thought there was a giant attack bird coming at me, and it was just this speaker they put in there to keep the birds out.
Kristen, I wonder what you think about this. Plunkett, you know our man Plunkett. Mm-hmm. He says, I suggest anyone that has a skunk problem buy some Red Fox urine, available at Bass Pro, etc. Spray the area periodically, and the skunks will leave that area alone. It's
Red
the scent
Fox
of
urine?
Yeah, it's...
I'm coming to join you, Elizabeth.
You big dummy.
You big dummy.
It's the scent of a predator that skunks fear. It does not damage anything, and he said he's
Those
used
are the
it before.
foxes that we have around here, I believe. The foxes. Kristen, you would know. Is fox plural and singular?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. So if I say, look at all the foxes, I'm speaking improperly.
Well, because that when you
I
say it like
look at
that.
all those fox. Look at all those fox.
Look at all those fox. Look at that fox.
Look at that foxy lady.
Okay, Kristen, what do you say to that? Red fox urine.
All right. Well, that would have the same effect as human urine. Just the scent of a predator. And then you could also spray a pepper-based spray anywhere animals are chewing. And obviously, when they taste that, they're not going to like it very much.
So we can pepper spray. So we can pepper spray a skunk, but you don't advise shooting it with a paintball gun.
No, you wouldn't be pepper spraying the skunk.
Yeah.
You would be using these are available at garden centers. It's a pepper flavored spray, and so you would spray it on where they chew. And when they start to chew on it, they'll say, "Oh, that doesn't taste good," and they'll go somewhere else.
I had planted a shrub right near our a building that we have. It looked beautiful, and it has a crawl space underneath it. Those things, that's a problem. You shouldn't have crawl spaces because what do you think goes in there? Animals, always animals. They build homes in there. Anyway, this thing I don't know what it was. It might have been a rabbit, a chipmunk. I've seen woodchucks, but it completely took that. Like an evergreen type shrub, completely ate the entire thing. It's now a root sticking out of the ground and completely gone. Have you ever seen anything like that? What do I have?
Oh, my goodness. I have no idea.
Yeah.
That could be a different number of species. But that pepper-based spray would help you with that.
I don't know. I think even you would be thinking about a shotgun after seeing that. I mean, there was a lot of investment that went into that shrubbery. John in Bridgewater is on the line, and he has promised Andrew to be well-behaved, Kristen. So we're here to protect you either way.
Oh, boy.
John, you're on. Good morning.
Kristen, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. How are you?
I did not mean to cause such a stink.
Yeah, literally.
And it
maybe you're the skunk. Maybe we should paintball you.
But here's the thing. We got a container at home. My wife goes out at night, and she locks all the feeders up. And, it started out, I wasn't going to do it, really. But do you eat beef and pork?
I'm sorry?
Do you eat?
I couldn't hear you.
Do you eat beef or pork?
No, I don't.
How about fish?
No, I don't.
Well, how come people can kill a cow for steaks, they can kill a pig for pork chops, and actually go fishing? I'm a fisherman. I use a nice silver spinner with red beads, put a worm on the end of it, throw it in, and I catch a fish. But that's okay?
No, it's not. And, in fact, you don't have to. There are many, many tasty and healthy plant-based vegan options available these days. And it's better for the animals, for your health, and the environment if you'll go vegan.
Why does New York State sell fishing licenses then? Because I go fishing.
They're enablers.
John.
I'm just saying. I'm a fisherman. I'm not.
John, I can clearly see that this
whole.
So
is the government responsible for your moral ineptitude? Then
there we go.
No, I'm just saying. I fish, and I didn't mean to start out just all this.
It might actually be that I'm enjoying this.
Anybody a problem? I'm sorry.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, well, that's nice that you're sorry.
Right.
She seems a little aggressive.
You can extend that compassion to all animals.
I'm not mean to animals. So, anyways, thank you. I'm sorry and I'm not going to do it again.
John, we should have just left it at the skunk. You had to go into the cows and everything.
You opened a whole can of worms.
Why not? What's the difference?
Exactly. You have a great point. There is no difference.
All right. Goodbye, John.
Yep.
We're hanging up on you now. There he is. He's been hung up on, and we're back with Kristen.
Oh.
Kristen, how am I supposed to stay on my keto diet going vegan? I would really struggle with that.
I'm not sure. I've never done a keto diet.
Well, you would not be able to as a vegan, I don't think.
A healthy plant-based diet is often a great way to lose weight, to shape up, and it's known to be excellent for your heart.
You know that we're in an area here where there are a lot of hunters and a lot of fisher people. I don't think you can say fishermen anymore. What is it called now?
Fisher people.
Fisher people. And, I think that when you say they're doing something bad, it does anger people, like John, who's a fisherman. How do you cope with that, knowing that you're really angering some people?
I'm not really worried about angering people.
Okay.
I'm hoping to make them think. He had a great point. What is the difference between a dog and a pig and a fish?
Yeah.
There may be some differences, but what's all the same is their ability to suffer. And as evolved humans, we have other options, and we can choose a compassionate diet that doesn't cause suffering.
Mike, I don't want to. No, I'm not going to ask this question. I have a listener right now that wants me to ask a question. I'm not. No. What's your question, Andrew?
Well, I would just, not that I even want to go down this road, but a lot of the time, like with hunting and fishing, the money goes towards environmental conservation or goes towards the DEC's budget to do that. Also,
and
it
prevents
prevents
overcrowding.
overpopulation,
Yeah,
right?
overpopulation thing. Yeah.
Even with making any animal into beef or food, like a cow or something, wouldn't that prevent even more suffering for the animal? And like Bill said, the fashion of overpopulation.
Well, you've combined a couple of different questions there. Cows are a totally separate issue from the perceived overpopulation of wildlife.
Okay, but
and
as
I
it
say
relates to
perceived
fish.
because humans have encroached further and further upon wild spaces to the point that these animals have very few places to go. And folks need to understand that nature is everywhere. It's in your yard. It's not just at the park or at the state park. These animals don't just conveniently stay put where you expect them to, and so we need to coexist with them because they have been left with fewer and fewer places to go, and humans are constantly putting out more and more attractants and expecting these animals not to eat them or consume whatever these attractive resources are. So if we learn to coexist a bit, I think that everyone can be happier.
I have a woodchuck in my backyard that lives under my shed, and I'm going to tell you right now, that thing lives like a king or a queen, lounging in the sunshine. I'll look out in the backyard. The thing is like sunbathing out there, completely exposing.
They're adorable. I love to watch them.
Completely exposing his bottom side. It's not what I want to look at, to be honest. All right, so Mike is arguing with me now. Normally, he's not so aggressive. Number one, he says, I know a good radio station from 6 to 9 in the morning to scare away creatures. Thanks for that, Mike. All right. He has two questions. Do you mind if I throw them at you, Kristen? Just two of them.
Let's do it.
This is the age-old, I'd hate even asking this question, but I'll ask it. I said I wasn't going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Here we go.
If there's a child drowning in a pond and a puppy, the puppy's drowning and the child, which do you save?
You can only save one.
And you can only save one, hypothetical.
I would just have to see what the circumstances were. It's hard to answer a question like that. I mean, of course, I would do my very best to save them both. That's all I can say. I mean, you could say I can't save them both.
You can't. Yeah, that's apparently Michael says the rules are you can only save one. Only one.
I don't abide by society's normal rules, as you can tell.
Okay. I can tell that. Yeah,
all right.
I can tell. And then the other thing is,
but we hope, we at least hope. I was going to say we know, but we hope you're not saying you'd let your child drown to save a puppy.
Oh, of course not.
Not hers, but if it's just a random child.
If it's another person's
well,
kid,
still,
I mean,
even okay.
At
least we got her to say that one thing. She'd take her child over her puppy.
I accidentally.
I don't know. It would be difficult for anyone to say they wouldn't save their own child.
That is true.
Right.
Or their own puppy.
Right. It's a good point.
Right? I mean, to be honest, Kristen, right?
Right. And, I mean, it's a hypothetical question of my own personal preferences, which is really irrelevant. Mm-hmm. I mean, you all didn't have me call in to talk to Kristen, If that were the case, I would have stayed in bed.
Well, listen, these are your people. Our listeners are your listeners. We share a common bond here in this regard. Somebody else asking, and this is another passive-aggressive question, I feel. How do we know the plants? How do we know the plants do not suffer? There are people that will hug trees, and when trees are being chopped down, they think the trees are actually being. But you don't believe that. You don't believe that. So when you're eating a plant-based diet, when the plants are harvested, there's no worry about that, right?
Well, what we do know is that plants don't have a central nervous system the way that animals do. Mm-hmm. And we know that animals have a central nervous system. We know that they feel pain. These are things that we're sure of.
All right.
And things that are demonstrable and scientific fact.
Don't you think it's weird how society is, how we people are? Like, for instance, we'll butcher a cow, but if you do that in a place like India, that is considered to be really horrible. Or in parts of China where butchering a dog for human consumption is A-OK, yet here we would consider that a crime. We're really quite a weird being, aren't we, depending on where we live in the world?
Right. Well, humans are incredibly speciesist.
Yeah.
And, once you realize that all animals really are the same in their ability to suffer and their desire to live, it becomes difficult to want to kill any of them or cause their death.
Is there an animal that you feel is on limits?
I'm sorry, is what?
I guess it'd be, if the opposite of off limits would be that it's not off limits. On limits would not be. Is there an animal out there that is such a terrible beast that you're okay with us going after that animal?
Not necessarily, no.
Right.
There are always ways to try to prevent and deter animals from whatever area where they're unwanted.
All right. Kristen Rickman, I appreciate it. Anybody else with any other? We've exhausted all potential hypothetical questions and everything else. But we do appreciate it. And I think, Kristen, despite all of this, and I know the questions were, in some cases, I feel sarcastic. I think with John, you may have made a difference in his life.
Well, I hope so. And he seemed like he was upset, but like I said, our goal is always to get people to think.
Yeah.
So one more
That's
before
a
we
tough challenge right there, by the way.
Think and not stink, and that's the point.
Okay.
one more
Yes.
before we let you go. A listener emailing in is Big Honey. Where does PETA stand on the issue of abortion?
PETA has no position on the issue of abortion. It has nothing to do with animal rights. You'll find folks on both sides of the issue with their personal beliefs within the animal rights community, but as an organization, PETA has no position.
Well, in that case, then how about animal euthanasia? You got to put your dog to sleep or put your cat down because they have cancer or whatnot.
Right. Animal euthanasia is a sad but sometimes necessary
So you're
part
okay with that?
of
Yeah.
humane animal care.
I think they should add that to the human species. If I get to the certain point where I'm suffering and I don't want to do this anymore, I should be able to legally
Call the doctor.
yeah.
Dr. K. Dr.
Yeah,
Morgan,
but
give me
let's
the
end
old
it all.
needle.
But that's a whole different conversation.
Who
I don't wanna
determines?
get
I guess
it'd be me. I get
Oh,
to
boy.
determine that.
No, but then why? So why couldn't you just say, you know what? I don't know. My best days are behind me. My girlgirlfriend left me.
Well, that's
I'm just we're gonna mail it in from here on out.
This
God,
is
the
opening
can of
up a
worms.
whole new can of worms, which is unethical according to PETA in the first place, right?
Well, they should have never been canned in the first place.
A can of
Right,
worms.
yeah, leave them in the ground.
That's right. Okay, Kristen, I think we've exhausted this. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
entertaining our phone calls and questions and all that. We really
Thank
do
you.
appreciate it.
Seriously.
It's been fun. Thanks for having me.
And your passion, I must say, even though I don't completely agree with it, and your mission, I appreciate and completely your passion.
Well, thank you.
Have a wonderful day, Kristen. Thank you.
You too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Interesting. I just feel like
The old pond puppy drowning and the kid thing.
She had to really think about that.
Well, that is a question. It's like almost as if you were watching one of those science fiction movies where the computer's taking over, and you can put an equation into the computer to make it start to smoke and explode.
I
And
cannot
it's the
compute.
only thing that saved the world. That is the question that you'd ask. So,
Kristen,
Michael,
1, 2, 4, shut down.
I appreciate that, Michael, but thank you, and look what you've done.
Chris in Whitesboro says I may not share the views of this woman from PETA, but she's done an amazing job articulating her view.
She certainly has.
Yeah,
And,
because she read the literature when she was recruited.
Yeah, but I think she 100% believes every bit of it, and tolerated, some rather sarcastic questions.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough.
I feel that she was really.
Well, they
good.
always do.
Paul.
Look, the puppy or the baby thing. I mean, you cannot. I'm sorry, you can't take the puppy ever. You can't.
There's never a situation where you take the puppy.
Never acceptable.
Well,
I'm sorry, in my opinion.
I heard it with my own ears here. Paul is the guy that caused this whole problem. He's the one that was giving away the paintball gun. Now look what you've caused, Paul.
I started something that I
You
didn't mean
did.
to get into, but
Yeah.
I want to go on record as saying I got John 2 bottles of skunk repellent spray that I'm going to make sure he gets in his hands.
Well, that is really awesome of you.
Put out for his bird feeder.
That is a great thing. I'm going to start doing pepper spray all over my shrubs. It'll probably kill the shrubs, but I'm going to pepper spray.
Yeah, I don't know if your wife would really appreciate dead bushes in your yard there.
Well, I'm telling you,
I don't know
know what.
how well that's going to go over.
I don't know. I have never seen an animal that just eats an entire shrub. Gone. Right down to the roots.
The fox urine, or there's other types of urine I think you can get, or to be honest with you, according to the listener, you can just pee in a bottle and go spray.
Apparently that does work as well. Yeah.
Ew. Okay.
All right there, Paul. You have a wonderful day. Thanks for doing that,
You just
Paul. That
go
was
to the store and they have a little right there on the shelf. You just
Pick it up.
Boom.
Okay.
Yeah, you
and
don't have to put anything in a bottle.
you reach out to Andrew and arrange with John, and it'll all work out. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, I got John's number.
Okay.
He called me yesterday.
Okay.
So, all right, but
Thank
have
you,
a good
Paul.
day, guys.
All
Bye-bye.
right.
That was a great segue, Paul, because what I was going to say is you shouldn't be bottling up chemicals and pouring them into Mother Earth when you can just simply take urine, which is a natural product that we all produce, and it's going to go back into the soil. You know, I'm going to become an activist for Mother Nature.
My guess
Okay.
is, though, that
We got this PETA woman on.
human waste is not all that good to collect in the masses in large quantities either.
Well, I'm sure it's better than whatever chemicals they put
Probably
together.
is, yeah. All right, I do have to break.